Hello boys, Yoshi here. Welcome back to my 100% playthrough of Super Mario 3D All-Stars. Ours, continuing on with Super Mario Galaxy 100%. Also, just a fair warning, I'm not going to be doing 100% with Luigi. Mario is the only character you'll see as a result, because doing that would be a little bit crazy. I am, however, going to make it a goal to unlock Luigi as a playable character. So later, if I wanted to do a speedrun, I could. So anyway, we're back in Super Mario Galaxy, and we just discovered the first boss galaxy of this game, so we're gonna go straight into it for the beginning part of this video. Cause why? Just head straight into a boss galaxy. Nothing could go wrong, right? Probably it will. I'll have a lot of problems. This is where the game starts to get a little bit more difficult. And even before this, there's quite a few things to do. So for this first part, we have to get this launch star broken open. None of the other things really matter. All that matters is we get the launch star open, and the way we do that is by guiding a bullet to not blow up like that. We have to guide it to the area where the launch star is, and we can break it open to reveal our launch star into the second planet. There is a way to skip this first planet entirely if you're precise with your movement, but we're not going to do that. So anyways, we have Bowser Jr. here, getting a little bit more interesting this time in this game. I won't even need my dad's help to take care of you. Go at him, Megalay. Stop them with the power of your Grand Star. So rather than fighting him ourselves, Bowser Jr. sends Megalay to attack us instead, because that's what he likes doing. Now, suddenly, we realize the hard truth that, we are gonna have to go a long way up this area in order to actually finish him off. So anyway, this entire boss fight is essentially sort of a platform, sort of puzzle at the same time, which I think is really cool. To get up to the top of them, you have to get all the way up to the top without falling off, otherwise you have to go back to the beginning and start again. Then once you head up to the top, you'll find these bullet bills you can launch at the crane area, which are simple enough to do at first, until the second row of cannons gets added, and then later other enemies start appearing. There's a trick skip that we could do to skip all of this. However, it's completely random, so we're essentially just waiting for a bullet bill to come, which can be random because they come out at random times that'll often hit each other. I think of it. I have to at least get one of them to chase me for a predetermined amount of time. But anyways, this is the intended way of doing it, as you can see, but there is a way to skip all that. But I think I'm gonna have to go a lot closer than I wanted to do this. But you can see here, we actually skipped that entire part. If you backflip over that, which I just did on my first try, after the bullet finally came, that is, we can just backflip over that entire section and just get a bullet in there, and that takes it out. It's actually way more straightforward than doing the intended way. So with that, our first entire area is done, and with that we can move on to the next area. But I do believe I will need to head back to the terrace because another cutscene will trigger at 10 stars, so if I just go to a different planet, I'll be warped to the Comet Observatory probably anyway. So here we see, as we get more Grand Stars, more of the areas will unlock, which gives us access to more of the game as we continue through. If we're fast enough, we might be able to defeat Bowser today in this video, which would be really fun. The ball of flame represents the power of the observatory. We call it the beacon. When you cover a grand star, a little star power will be stored and the beacon will grow. The comet observatory can use that power to fly through the universe. power is restored, we'll even be able to fly to the center of the universe. The newly opened dome is called the Fountain. It's really quite relaxing. By the way, if you looked at the map, it contains information about galaxies as well as domes. All the saving in this game, by the way. Guess it is for a good reason. Again, part of the reason why I'm not going super greedy is I'm trying to rely on the star bits to get me most of my lives. The only thing I really want to get mostly is whenever I can get the 6th life, I'll take that. But beyond that, I don't want to do anything else. Right. So now we have the simple flip switch galaxy, which is a little bit more difficult. It has some chilly parts to it that might make it difficult, but there's a strategy that'll let us get through it most of the time, every single time. So we're gonna start by making sure the camera is correct. Waiting on this thing to come back, and then jumping and spinning to ensure we get to this other spot. Then, with the spin at a time, we'll jump and spin again to make it go to the left. We'll ignore this first part for now. Head to this part. Okay, this time we are gonna ride on it the second time. Yeah, we could go much faster, I know, but... Right, alright, we got it now. Okay, good, he deactivated himself, which is really nice to do. That's probably not the fastest way of doing it, but I'd rather not die than fail that. Right. We're not gonna be entering the terrace again for a while because there's quite a few things to do in this second area, so we're gonna do that now. When we get warped to the second time, we'll probably do the Hungry Roomba. Right. I have just enough stars to get to this first planet. Which is unfortunately also where the game takes a turn for the worse now. These areas actually become decently difficult all of a sudden. It's also where we can start potentially figuring out some secret stars, which we don't really know about right now, so we'll start by, Right. So we have our first actual pole star path that's not dumb, that's actually a legit puzzle here. These will get really obnoxious later when we have to do this with one life, because yeah, that's a thing that exists. But I'll talk about that later. And yes, if you mess up any of those, you can die pretty easily. This is the first star that gets actually reasonably difficult, because it has quite a few ways to control you. But then again, you still can't help but admit that this game still looks pretty cool anyway, even without that. Because, yeah. So here we can kind of do some momentum physics to get Mario through this level even quicker than what you would get normally, but if you do it incorrectly in the wrong way, it's possible to end up failing if you were to not deal with this correctly. Yeah, I don't think all the secrets will be hidden in all the plants. Right, so by freeing all of them, Captain Toad comes to help us out a little bit. Right. Cool. And yes, technically this is Captain Toad's introduction. Now we get to deal with this! This is where a game gets, in my opinion, takes a turn for the worse. This is one of the harder stars to do fast, so we'll do it in its intended manner, which becomes a maze of some sorts. The goal is to reach the power star without falling into the abyss or messing up. To do that, you have to find the hidden invisible path in each of the individual areas to get to each of the silver stars, and then escape with them. Yes, you have to escape with them and get the power star at the end. Don't worry if the blocks disappear for some reason. They'll always be there, regardless. I've never once been interested in fully speedrunning this, so obviously I'm gonna take this star a little bit slower than usual. You can kind of just slowly scout ahead to see which ones were there, and then beyond that, it's mostly a memory one, where you have to memorize exactly where the blocks will be. Exactly which ones will be where. And spinning if you get caught up somewhere. Okay, now the last one is available on the right, which is thankfully also the simplest one to get. By collecting the 5 silver stars, we change it into a power star, and then we can pick it up. Right. We've collected that. We actually don't get pulled for as long as I thought. I thought we would get pulled sooner or later, but I guess not. I guess we could continue through Space Junk Galaxy for a little bit, doing all the levels in there while we're at it. Right. Here we get the first boss, I guess mini-boss of this, particular galaxy area of the Fountain, at least that I know of. This one's a little bit more annoying than the last one. I will say they definitely get more difficult as you continue on for the game. And you'll have to remember how they fight in particular, because at some point we'll probably have to face them more than once. But with another effect added on to them. I haven't really got much secrets, so let's go ahead and do this. With most boss missions, there's usually going to be a 6th life hidden somewhere for the beginners that are able to find it. Oh, jeez. I was about to say, so here we are taught some of the main mechanics of the spin jump and a couple of other stuffs, and idea that this is essentially our hint that we can combine both spin jumps and backflips to collect stuff a little bit easier. The most important one being jumping and then spinning in midair to give us extra height. So yeah, that's our one hit that we could actually do stuff. And also, we got a shell. We'll go ahead and use that to open this chest. We have to get that guy out of the way, otherwise they'll probably block our sail. So now we see this boss's main mechanic. We'll have to pick up shells at some point and throw it at him to damage him. Of course, they will not always be very easy. We have to use other shells to get stuff as well. Right. Right, got those guys out of the way. Now it's time to head on to the actual boss fight proper, which we can get via this area. Now we find sort of a theater version of Camilla, the lady version, or whatever you call her. This is one of the more obnoxious fights if you don't know how to deal with it, because it can be very annoying to hit her. The safest way of doing it, in most cases, is to wait for her to stop moving, which can take a random amount of time. So yeah, after hitting her with 2 different hits, she'll get angry and summon her friends. These fireballs are the one and main reason why this boss is so annoying, because it's all random where they actually go out. And again, you'll need the coins to heal. And surprisingly enough, yes, you'll have to defeat him at one point without using any power-ups. It's not the best fight, but it's fine enough. We'll be able to learn their pattern soon enough. Of course, if that was the fight in this galaxy, just you wait until we have to do other things in this galaxy. Still not quite sure what I should actually do in all of the galaxies that'll make things interesting, but I don't really know. At least until something happens, I'm gonna actually probably just go for the galaxies in mostly linear order, I said. That's what I meant to say. But yeah. We'll go to this one next. The Battle Rock Galaxy. I'll do all 3 missions here. Looks like it's not until much later where we'll actually, get those things unlocked. Still though, we should probably be able to know about them, at least in this video, once we get enough, right? Fine. It's not like we need those coins anyways. Whoa. So, collecting all these poststars, we're able to get to the next part of this galaxy. Right, so now we have to activate an Oscar of some sorts. This is where we find out that this level is one of the longer levels in the game. The only way to continue on now is to essentially, well, I guess collect star bits while we go on the slide. And otherwise, we're basically forced to sit for this entire Oscar while jumping at certain parts to avoid part of the track, and going underneath and back up for most of the parts in order to make sure we don't get hit by anything. Beyond that, though, this is one of the simpler Oscars. It's pretty much the exact same every time you play it. The only thing that gets reasonable annoying is later on when you have to collect more stuff, but until then, it's not really that hard to do. It's just about walking through a couple hours. This one can get a little annoying, but now that I know the backflip tech, it's as simple as just doing that, and it's pretty straightforward. So yeah, pretty boring All-Star, to say the least. Of course, to be fair, after having to deal with the Sandbird All-Star, I still don't know what's coming next. And now we finally found the Power Star, but to get to it, we have to defeat the enemies in this area to actually reach it. How will we do any of that, you say? We have to find a secret area that has a bullet bill on one of the sides. Which in this case, I think will be here. Yeah. They'll automatically go after us. We can break these areas one by one to reach the secrets. I'm gonna start by simply clearing a path for them, just to make it easier to get through the area. Then beyond that, I'm kind of just gonna run and hope for the best here. Didn't actually mean to destroy it like that, but it ended up working out that way. Right. Now let's actually go to end this level proper, which we can do pretty simply. Running this bill into the star as soon as it comes. And we can get it at that point. Right. Pretty straightforward game so far, but it'll get more difficult later. And speaking of which, now we get pulled. I was wondering when this would happen. So I think this is the part where he tells it. It seems a prankster comet has appeared. Prankster comets have very strange effects on galaxies. If you want to learn more about the curious, let's ask this Luma. So the prankster comets are this game's challenge mode, sort of. If you go into those galaxies, you'll have to defeat a familiar opponent again or do another special challenge. Except, it's gonna be a little bit different. Unfortunately, despite what I feel like could be done, there is no reliable way to skip all of them, so since we're doing 100%, we're probably gonna be forced into those anyway, so we'll kind of just do those as we happen to get time to do them from the loading. But beyond that, our major focus is still going to be getting to the other stuff, and I figure if we play a lot enough, let's make the Sweet Sweet Galaxy appear and go ahead and collect a star from there. So, this is a much more despicable challenge. In fact, I think this is one of the more tougher challenges in a game, is when I actually first started dying in. There's so much randomness and also just moving stuff everywhere that you don't really have a reason to go slow, because if you go slow, you'll only take longer to complete the challenge. If you don't memorize the patterns, you'll end up dying anyway. So the simpler way of doing it is to just try and get to the end as soon as possible. The way we're gonna do it is by jumping over and over again. And we'll add in a couple long jumps as well. Oh! I nearly recovered with a backflip. See, I told you it would happen at least once. Okay, well, I don't want to take too long, so we'll start this time by kind of adding in some random jumps in this section. I hate these lasers, by the way. They have to put these lasers in the middle of our path. It just makes it even more obnoxious to get through. Whoa! This was the chap that got me the last time. Alright, now for the final part of this. We'll say this game has a really good remix on the Mario 2 theme, but other than that, it's a pretty difficult plant to get going. It's the first plant where beginners start really failing a lot, which is what makes these secret galaxies so tough. Get ready to use your spin a lot, and it's still not over. Thankfully, this power is more straightforward to figure out, but it's also one of the more obnoxious ones to do it, and also has us jumping again. In fact, we'll be jumping and spinning frequently to get through this any quick. Right. Okay, we made it. We're no longer in the madness anymore. Oh, man. Well, looks like Deathless isn't happening anymore, but at least we did that decently fast. Regardless of what happens in these, you will always go back to the observatory after doing them. Thankfully, that's a one-level galaxy, so now we never have to do that again, for 100% at least, which is fine by me. But we might get a similar copy of it later, who knows. Alright, with that, we're actually almost out at the second part as well. This game goes really fast sometimes, man. The simplest way of doing this, at least from what I found, is to go in each level as many times to get a lot of stars in some of the major galaxies first, and then once you get enough stars in each of the galaxies, you can just start, like, adding in stars later. Of course, some of these will take 2 trips, some of them will have to do stick comments somewhere else, and then another one later on, so it could take a little while, to say the least. So now we're on to breaking the battle lock mission. Just where things get a little bit interesting. Whoa. Okay, that's not a good spot to pick that up. Right. We got our star, now we can continue on. Oh, there's one of the secret characters I mentioned earlier that you can pick up. While we may not be able to destroy these chain chops normally, there is one way we might be able to destroy it on pure accident. If we use this bomb and run it into some of the chain chops, or just have it land on top of them, we can use the bomb to very slowly destroy stuff, and we actually have an even better way of doing it, so now that I think of it, rather than destroying them one by one, there's no reason to do that when we could just do this instead. So we're gonna actually do the secret star first as a result. Getting this and getting a couple of other stuff, we're able to go through and take out every single one of these chain chops. You can also get some good speed with this star, which I like a lot. And from there, we're able to collect a bunch of star bits. Please be 50 and not something else. There you go, he talked to me. Probably actually won't be that. Yeah, it's only 30. Never mind. I always go over the amount that I think I need, but that's because I don't want to be too low. You can see why we collect a lot of the star bits in all the areas. So this is the first star that's not actually supposed to be the intended star. This reveals a secret that we could do, which turns into another challenge. This one's a little bit more trollier. Okay, so we have to use the bombs to blow up this trash. We're kind of just gonna throw them at random, have them land in the individual area next to where the trash is, and just hope that we blow it all up. Because there's no real other way of doing it quickly. It's about all we can really do, after all. Right, that was closer than I thought. Right. Okay, we got our power star there, nice. That gives us our first secret power star that we're not supposed to get early, but we were able to find it, so it counts. Okay, this time we are gonna do things a little bit differently. We're gonna take out the boss, but we're not going to go into the planet after him yet. Okay. Because obviously we want to unlock more stuff. But we'll be doing this area in 2 parts because there's still quite a few stars to get here. So we'll be getting stars from there. Terrace Part 2 will be coming soon, but we need a lot of secret stars to be unlocked later. Some of them can only be unlocked after rescuing a certain someone and a couple of other stuff. So that's why we're doing it like this, because at least this is what I know is the fastest route. Right, now we have our first Bowser mission, and you can already tell that these are a lot better when the game actually brought back the Mario 64 Bowser stage music for these, which makes them a lot more epic, in my opinion. Now then, we get to see this game's main gravity mechanic again, but this time it tries to play against us. These stages definitely get a lot harder now, like, that we are in the Bowser stages. Like, I think Bowser was really annoyed about us getting through really easily, so now he's throwing everything at us to try and get us killed. Each of these stages, in addition to the Bowser Jr. stages, unlike some of the other ones, will always have a guaranteed extra life every single time, so that's one thing you don't have to worry about. This is one of the harder spots to get through, so we'll just go through and for the best, and we've reached Bowser. Of course, it's still going to make it hard on us, right? Gonna have to break some of the stuff off, and we have to go really quickly. So yeah, the first part's pretty intense. We have to get to him before the platforms disappear. And now we found him. We actually get to challenge him here. We finally made it. Just in time for me to stomp you in the face, Vets. So now we're going to fight in a completely different planet, obviously, because he never likes doing other stuff. Well, that was really slow start for him. That's kind of interesting. That's much better. So, obviously we have to make him stop the ground, which lights his tail on fire. Then we hit him once more to make his attack get cancelled. Then after that, we have to wait for him to charge at us again. Then on this next try, we're gonna have to spin him again 2 more times after his first hit. Then, after saying one last time, we have defeated him. But he's not fully defeated, though. He's gonna retreat. How? Foolish Mario, my plan is too far along now. You really think you can stop me? So yeah, he just vanishes off into thin air, but we do get to take his Grand Star that he had at one point, which is important. Okay. We're already up to, like, what is it, 10 or 16 stars or whatever? Which makes this a lot more funner now. And now we've unlocked yet another new area. This one will take a little bit more longer to unlock the boss door, so as a result of that and a couple of other things that have to be done now, we're actually going to not go to the area that we're expecting. We're actually gonna go back to the area we just left because there are still some more stuff to do here. You execute another Grand Star and powers return to another dome in the back of observatory. Still don't think we have the star power we need to eye for the universe. The villain who kidnapped your special one took her far from here to the center of the universe. Once our star powers are restored, the observatory will be able to go there. There you can reunite with your special one. Yeah, that's right. I'm gonna be able to do that eventually. Yeah, that's fun. At minimum, we're gonna try and get a lot of stars from this, because we still need quite a few before we can finish the game. Right, so we don't really have much choice here, so we're gonna be going into our first comet challenge, whether we like to or not. This is the Speedy Comet. We have to complete a mission within a specific time, otherwise we instantly die, so this makes things a lot more interesting as a result. In this case, we have to get to the end of Polestar Path. I'm not gonna lie, that timer kind of makes things obnoxious. These are some of the levels in particular are my favorite, because these are how people will be taught how to speedrun, because obviously, since you have to go very fast, you are basically forced to do all of the fastest movement as a result. So you start, doing a lot of jumps everywhere, and, lawn jumping, and doing some crazy strategies. This is, in my opinion, where, things get a lot more interesting. And yes, once you're in a comet, you can't leave it until later. Can I try and skip this, maybe? So the mechanics on this for the speedrun in particular will let us skip a lot of particular pull stars if we use it at the right time. Okay, that's not what we want. Each knockdown costs a significant amount of time. Don't really have time for coins either. But we'll get one anyways, just because why not? Right. Captain Toad is back. Now we have to do the actual Pulstar Path itself area. I'm gonna do the puzzle in the same way as I did before. Except this time we're gonna hold down a little bit as we go to get to the other stars faster. Right, that's not the correct way. We have to go here. I'm not gonna lie, even if you're trying to go for this slow, you definitely get sized up by this. See, now I'm no longer taking things safe, I'm actually trying to go fast. A particular way you speedrun this fast is to just look for the stuff on the side and use that to remember where the stars are, and at that point you just jump to them. Because we went very fast, we have plenty of time to kill, so we're not going to worry too much about actually going super fast. Although I still do like these stars. As you might have guessed, this one's not quite as hard as some of the later ones. I'm getting it's more difficult later, and there's still one star. This game in particular, I think, has one star type in particular that only appears at the end of the game later, after you've beaten Bowser for the first time. That in particular could be really annoying, but we probably won't see that until much later. It depends, though. Rosalina's library has been expanded, eh? It's not like that matters, because we still have to do a couple more stars, so we'll start by clearing all the regular stars from this planet, and then some of the secret stars later as well. Starting with Tyranotox's Tangled Web, which is in our boss battle. So yeah, when I mentioned we're gonna do this in 2 parts, we are gonna do this in 2 parts, because there's still quite a few stars to get here. We ultimately need 60 to finish off this area, so defeating the boss is just the first part of it. We're going to get more stars as we go on. Part of the reason why we're defeating the boss so early is because some of the bosses, I believe, are also linked to other stars as well. Oh, we have another secret, but I'm not sure. Let's see. I'm gonna at least check you. Let's see. I've not actually remembered this. Okay, he's at 50. A little bit longer. We have to enter the area to find some more stuff here yet. Whoa! Hang on. I like to get a couple of extra because you'll often miss the Hungry Luma if you're not careful enough. So we'll get like 5 extra, I guess. And then get back up here, which will allow us to do the secret first, I guess. Because, yeah, we really like doing that. Except it might actually be the regular one. Hang on, buddy. You have to wait for it to actually go to there. Sometimes the hitboxes for these is kind of obnoxious. Now that I think of it, if this takes us to the main path, this might actually be acquired. Nope. Oh. Oh yeah, I forgot. Yoshi is kind of here, but in spirit. Yeah, we've found the Yoshi planet. But we are Goombas everywhere. There's not really a good way of dealing with these guys, so we'll be essentially just going into one spot, spinning, and then pounding on as many of them as we can until we defeat them all. And yeah. While there is potentially a strategy to do this faster, the simplest way I know of doing it quickly while still being sort of safe at the same time is to jump, spin if things get crazy, and just, you will have to do other stuff. And yeah, Yoshi's obviously mad, so we need to clear off all the Goombas off his planet edge. After that's done, we will get a star to spawn. Again, I prefer us jumping them than spinning them, because if your spin is only a little bit off, you'll not actually defeat them. To take it out the last one, Yoshi will essentially reward us with a star in spirit, essentially. And there we go. That's this level's secret star for you. Now we'll do the regular level and then maybe move on to Battle Rock after this. Like I said, there's plenty of stars in some of the later levels as they come up, but most of these levels don't have other stuff. Wow, they even call it an unexpected appearance, which I think is interesting. Alright. Continuing on into this see, we need 2 more stars here. We need to do a lot of these stars because if we don't do some of the stars, mainly in the main galaxies, then we won't even get stars to spawn later. So, I believe this one has one level in particular that I have to get by in order to trigger that thing to appear. That's the one I want. So now, into breaking Battle Rock proper. And I'm not quite as interested in getting some of the other stuff, so we'll go ahead and pick this up for one thing only on the biome. Maybe we can pick up the star bits as we go along. That was actually a pretty quick way of clearing that out, not gonna lie. Right, so now for the actual star, we have to, or at least the intended fast strategy I know. We grab this bomb, and then we have to navigate it all the way to the end without running into any change hop, otherwise we have to do the entire thing again. And once it lands on top, we break the Luma out, and we can talk to him to finish this one off. This gives us a shortcut to then be able to go on to the next planet proper, which continues us on into the game later. Suddenly we're in another pole star maze. There's a 6 mushroom in here, so before we do anything, we're gonna obviously pick it up. Anytime there's an easy one, we need to usually take it if we get a chance, because there's not always going to be an easy way to get those. Some of them might even skip later on. Right, now we're into breaking Battle Rock proper, which actually has a little bit more stuff this time. Ooh, that one's kind of more obnoxious to do. Aw, really? After all that, that's only a secret? Well, that's fine. Gets us some more star bits. Right, now we get into this level's main gimmick. We have to find a way to get some of the cannons open first, and before we can do anything else, we need to break this cannon area open. which then periodically allows us to do a cannon, and yeah, we just shoot across the stage like nothing's different, and from there we can kind of go anywhere we want. And that can be used to shoot pretty much anywhere else the planet, while using the point controls, of course, to get it through. Nice. We dealt with that. Okay, now for one of the cannons that's actually going to be more difficult. And could very well be a reason why people potentially hate some of these cannons. Yeah. By the way, the cannons are back from Mario 64, in case you didn't already notice. No reason to wait any longer, so we're gonna go into the cannon here. We have to shoot at this star directly to get it. However, there are a bunch of guardians blocking the way, so if we shoot it just the incorrect way, we won't actually hit it. Thankfully, hit it on our first try. Some of those shots will get a lot more difficult later, especially when you're on a speedrun and have to essentially do it as fast as possible. It could be kind of obnoxious to get it. But this is a casual playthrough. We can take our time. So we'll just do that. Okay, this last level is the one that for sure I want to try and get done. Because if I finish this level, this will unlock the ability for a comet to spawn later in this galaxy, which will allow me to do that. Now, we still will have to return to these at some point, because, again, there are quite a few stars that will spawn after the game is complete. We're just doing this mostly for extra stars. So now we have to deal with Top Maniac. A little simpler, but also kind of more annoying bosses just because of the way he's fought. Whoa. Oh yeah, and the Monteols are back for some strange reason as well. Okay, that's how this thing will get to the end, I see. Right. Sooner I continue on to the different planets, the better. So here we learn how to actually defeat these enemies proper. Some of the harder ones, at least. We have to, essentially go through and defeat the enemies by spinning them into the electricity, which will automatically defeat them. Now let's continue onward. Right, into the pipe we go. Oh, there's another secret as well. This is one of the longer levels, as you can see. And yes, this game has 2D mechanics in a 3D Mario game. That actually is part of the reason what makes this game so much better compared to its predecessor, is the fact that some levels can become 2D, and the way they do the 2D levels is pretty impressive in its own right. The gravity just flipping on its side, and you have to deal with other stuff. It's things like that that make this such a casually friendly and really nice game to play through. The first time I played this through, I was amazed by this game, because before that, Super Mario Sunshine, the game I played before, didn't really have the best mechanics, and again, it had a lot of hard stars in it. That's what made it so annoying to play through for me. Okay, we have to do a little bit of a speed run here, which we were able to make, thankfully. Oh, now they spice things up by adding a way for the game to actually crush kill you. Thankfully, that's pretty straightforward to get to, but it could definitely get harder later. this guy. This guy, at least, actually in no damage runs, if you have to like do an area, for example, without taking out damage, is by far my least favorite enemy. Especially when compared with all the other stuff as well. Because it makes things really obnoxious. Whoa. Mario was so confused, he was kind of just going around in a kind of a weird area. And the Gaudi's kind of just pulling us through all these planets here. Right, we started the main base, but we still haven't found the big area yet. And I think we have found it now. Also, there's a little skip from this that we will do that I don't want to do. Rather than trying to go for the wave normally, we are just going to go ahead and just skip on over to there, and that will get us into this boss fight. Which is pretty straightforward on his first try, but later he gets more obnoxious. Beyond that, it's as straightforward as just spinning them into each of the individual areas, which is simple enough to land on. It's whether or not you can avoid the electricity yourself. In case it isn't obvious, the sooner this boss gets killed, the better. And we already did him no damage, so that's nice. In case you're wondering, one of the Comet medals has you defeat the same boss again, but without taking a single hit point of damage. Yes, that means a single hit point equals death. There's no extra life, no nothing. You have to do it with 1 health only. That's what makes it brutal. We did that star just so that that comet can appear later, which it already did, so we can actually do that right again if we want to. And, I'm not gonna lie, I think I actually am gonna go for it. Because out of all the bosses, that one is the simplest. There are much harder ones later on, though, but I figure since I figured out a strategy, we may as well, use it to do some fun here. These ones are definitely still obnoxious, though, because again, one mistake and you die. I'm just gonna shut up and but just go through this, because I'd much rather get through this than not get through this. Okay, we don't want to really go through much while we have 1 health. So again, we're going to do the jump and spin mechanic. My favorite movement in this game that lets you skip a lot of the planets. You'll want to memorize that as much as you can because, yeah. And don't worry, Mario will usually be spawned in the center. Right, you gotta wait a little bit on him for each of the first parts. Okay, it would be helpful... when you aren't able to kill him quickly enough, that's when things get a little bit more annoying. Please! Okay. As you can see, the slower the boss fight takes, the harder it becomes, so it's simplest to just take it out as fast as possible. There are way more harder comments than that, though. We still haven't even gotten to the 6th area yet. Once we get to that area, things are gonna get even more brutal. Okay, with the collection of that star, we're gonna save our game, and with that, we are done for now. We like if you guys enjoy, rate, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video where we continue collecting power stars. Until then, see you guys in the next video, and peace.